Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Five Ever Timepieces, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of luxury watches, discuss some of the stories behind these iconic pieces, as well as bring you guys relevant and up-to-date news from within the luxury watch world. As always, my name is Chris, and today we're going to talk about something special to not just me, but something special to come from the luxury watch world. I'm talking about the IWC 150 Years Constant-Force Tourbillon, a watch that's so rare, only 15 models exist in the entire world. This isn't just another high-end IWC, no. This is one of their most technically advanced watches ever, a watch that represents a century and a half of innovation, heritage, and precision. This is a statement piece. It's a collector's dream watch, and it's honestly a true example of premier horology at its finest. But what makes this watch so remarkable? What is a Constant-Force Tourbillon? And why does it matter? And if you wanted to get your hands on one, if you can find one, what kind of money are we talking about? Let's get into it. So before we dive into the watch itself, we have to talk about IWC's legacy. Because honestly, this timepiece is the result of 150 years of horological evolution. IWC, or International Watch Company, was founded back in 1868 by an American watchmaker named Florentine Jones. What was his goal? I feel like it was to combine American industrial efficiency with Swiss craftsmanship. Now, while most Swiss brands at the time were focused on small-scale artisanal watchmaking, Jones wanted to bring mass production techniques to Switzerland, but doing so without sacrificing quality. That's the vision that ultimately led him to create IWC Schaffhausen. Based in Schaffhausen, Switzerland, this is a brand that would later go on to become one of the most respected names in luxury watchmaking today. Now let's talk about the Portugieser collection. Now, in my opinion, this is exactly where this watch belongs, simply to the fact that the Portugieser collection has its own legendary story behind it. Dating back to the early 1930s is when two Portuguese businessmen approached IWC with a simple request. They wanted a wristwatch, but they wanted a wristwatch with the accuracy of a marine chronometer. Now, at the time, most wristwatches were small and they weren't very precise, but these guys, they wanted something large, highly legible, and something that was incredibly accurate. They wanted a true, precise instrument to measure time. IWC answered their request by introducing the world to the first Portugieser. This was a watch that would go on to later define the brand and also define their most elegant and sophisticated designs. Now, over the decades, IWC eventually began refining this collection, but the DNA of the Portugieser collection, it remains the same. You have big cases, clean dials, and the mechanical excellence of IWC. And that brings us to the 150 Years Constant-Force Tourbillon, one of the most technically sophisticated Portugieser models ever created. And now, you know what they say about first impressions. First impressions matter. And the 42 millimeter platinum case of this watch, it immediately tells you that this is no ordinary timepiece. It's heavy, it's luxurious, and it has that unmistakable glow that only platinum can give. Platinum being a material that not only feels substantial in weight, but it also develops its own unique character over time. A softer luster compared to that of white gold. That makes it perfect for a limited edition masterpiece like this one. You have the white lacquered dial. Well, that alone is another standout feature. It's designed to resemble IWC's early pocket watches. And then you have the blue Arabic numerals that gives it that vintage yet sophisticated look. And of course, the star of the show, the Constant-Force Tourbillon, positioned at the 9 o'clock. This is what truly makes this watch special, in my opinion. The dial layout is beautifully balanced with the power reserve also positioned on the dial at the 4 o'clock position. This is a crucial detail for a hand-wound watch like this. Every element in this watch has been meticulously placed to ensure both elegance and functionality. Now, let's not forget about the strap, the black Santoni alligator leather strap. Because in my opinion, if you're going to wear a $250,000 plus timepiece, you're going to need a strap that matches that level of luxury. All right, let's get to the real magic. Let's talk about the real magic inside this watch, the Constant-Force Tourbillon. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, a tourbillon is a mechanical complication within a watch that it compensates for the gravitational errors by continuously rotating the escapement and rotating the balance wheel. Now, this was something that was originally designed for pocket watches just because most pocket watches spend their time in a vertical position. But today, within luxury watches, this is more about displaying your engineering excellence and craftsmanship. But a Constant-Force tourbillon, this is where it goes even further than just a simple tourbillon. The problem that it addresses is this: the uneven power delivery. Now, in a traditional watch, you have the mainspring. This is where most of the energy is stored, but it's gradually and slowly released into the movement. But as it begins to unwind, the power delivery becomes somewhat inconsistent. This is what leads to the minor variations in accuracy, either over or under with the time display. Now, the solution to this is the constant force mechanism. IWC solved this by adding the constant force mechanism to the tourbillon. Now, instead of releasing energy directly from the mainspring, the mechanism stores energy in a secondary system, and this is then fed perfectly in equal increments back into the mainspring. Think of it like this. Instead of having water that's flowing freely through a faucet, imagine a pump that's delivering, how can I say this, perfectly measured drops at precise intervals. That's what the constant force mechanism does for the movement. The result? Absolute precision for at least 48 hours. After this is when the watch transitions to normal mode for the remainder of the power reserve. That level of consistency is something that's extremely rare in mechanical watches, making this one of the most advanced timepieces IWC has basically ever produced. Now let's talk about what really matters to collectors. Rarity and value. With only 15 pieces ever made, this watch was basically never meant for the general public. This was a piece that was reserved for top-tier collectors, the ones with deep connections to IWC and collectors with the means to actually acquire a piece of horological history. This was a watch retailing for over $250,000, and today its value has only gone up. But finding one of these is nearly impossible if you don't have the proper source. Now, if you're ever wanting to come across one of these on the secondary market, you can expect to pay over $300,000 or maybe even more, depending on its condition and provenance. This isn't just a watch; it's an investment in engineering, legacy, as well as exclusivity. So what makes the IWC 150 years Constant-Force Tourbillon so special? It's the perfect blend of heritage, innovation, and craftsmanship. It's a watch that celebrates IWC's 150-year-long journey while also pushing the boundaries of what's possible in mechanical watchmaking. For those of you also lucky enough to own one of these, it's a grail piece, in my opinion. Something that few will ever see in person, let alone get a chance to wear. And for the rest of us, this is also a reminder of why we love the world of fine timepieces. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of 5 Ever Timepieces. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe if you're listening in on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or Apple Podcasts. Do you have a grail watch you want me to cover? Hit me up on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is 5 Ever Timepieces. Hit me up and we can talk about watches. Until next time, keep ticking in style. That's dope.